back with another one. Let's get some lights on in here. And we're going to talk about P. Diddy being denied bail, while also behind the scenes look of my next video. Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, a history of racially charged conflict. Now, why is it that I call this particular video a racially charged conflict, even though you're dealing with, well, essentially maybe two men of a similar background? So why would it be classified as that? Well, I'm here to tell you that it is the things that Paddy has said. In fact, welcome to the behind the scenes right now. I'm doing a recording of that video while I am doing a live stream regarding P. Diddy. So it's a little bit of a double whammy, and you get a little bit of a treat for it. One of it is going to be an audio portion of the video that I'm about to record. And then obviously, if you want to check out the full video screen of that, me singing these things while it's going on, you can check it out right here on the live stream. So here it goes, okay? Let's get the microphone going for the recorded portion that I got going on. And we're going to do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So obviously, as I have mentioned, Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett is a very much racially charged conflict, even though you're dealing with essentially two white men of different backgrounds. One is of Eastern European descent. One is of obviously, one can argue Celtic, or what is it, maybe Irish or Scouser, whatever it is that Paddy can identify as. But it is more about what Paddy said than anything, right? In fact, it is a conflict that has nothing to do with Paddy. Did you know that the Russians have absolutely terrorized the Georgians going back till maybe 2008, maybe even before that? But the conflict of that particular scenario was very prominent in 2008. And as a result, Paddy taunted Ilia Topuria on that particular matter and had decided to antagonize him, and gets into this beef. They get into that street fight of that video that I had just showed you. And not only that, here it is. Paddy is on the verge of climbing. He's on the verge of getting better. And then here's Ilia Topuria, now the double champion. So it is two guys that are rising in one separate scenario to the other, right? But then on top of it, now they got this historic conflict that involves racially charged conflicts, ethnic situations, nationalism, Georgia versus Russia. And what's funny about that is that Paddy had nothing to do with any of these particular conflicts, and yet it is the focal point of their particular conflict. Well, we're going to get right into it right now. And by the way, for those that are watching right now live, I'm doing a live recording of the video that I'm about to put out with Paddy versus Topuria, the conflict that went on with Russia versus Georgia, and how Paddy made light of it. Also, while doing this live right now, for those that are live watching this, and for those that are hearing this in audio form later on, we are doing a live on P. Diddy being denied bail. And what we're going to do is talk about why that is an injustice. And you're going to have to find out, check out the live stream that I'm going to have attached on the description down below once this video is released. But for those that are live streaming with me right now, you are watching it live as we are reacting to it. So let's get to the Paddy versus Ilia Topuria video right now. And for those of you that are staying, obviously you are in the live session right now with P. Diddy and the scenario and the particular storyline that goes with that, right? That right there was just to advertise this live stream. You see, this is something I notice a lot of content creators don't do, right? They don't often go out there and try to, let's say, promote their live stream, at least not that much. I know MMA Guru does it in a way where he does it on a member section. With my member section, I do just a few videos here and there, still trying to grow it. But a lot of people don't really promote their live stream sessions, because I think the majority of the MMA community uses their live stream session as a Q&A. Whereas I try to use this opportunity to build monologues, to build conversations, and also build content around it as well, right? So that's sort of the difference in how I use my live stream. So I try to really put a lot of emphasis into my live streams like I'm doing a video. But for today, you are behind the scenes as I'm making this video with Paddy Pimblett and to Ilya Topuria, the history behind the Russian conflict, so on and so forth. So let's get to that for a second, right? And then we're going to talk about P. Diddy and why I believe this is an absolute injustice on why he was denied bail. But you know what? Let's get to it right now, right? So Sean Diddy Combs, verdict live, hip hop mogul denied bail after being found guilty on 2 of the 5 counts, acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Now, in the hearing Wednesday evening, which is right now, Judge Arun Subramanian denied these defenses requests that Combs to be released on a $1 million bond while he awaits sentencing. Let me show you a picture that they drew up of P. Diddy right here. Okay, so there's P. Diddy right there after being denied bail, being very upset about the whole thing. So Sean Diddy Combs remains in jail while he awaits sentencing for the convictions on 2 counts of prostitution-related offenses. A judge decided on Wednesday evening. Now, hours earlier, the jurors in Combs' federal criminal trial found that the hip-hop mogul guilty on 2 of the 5 counts filed against him, acquitting him of the other 3. Okay, now, 12-member panel acquitted Combs of racketeering and sex trafficking. Now, I think that is correct, right? I think they went over a little bit bored of the racketeering stuff. I think that the feds saw there was something there. You also have to understand there's a portion of law enforcement that may have grown up in the 90s that grew up idolizing Tupac, right? Even though Tupac was very much against police officers during the 90s era and even had an incident where he had shot at 2 police officers. But nonetheless, neither here or there. That is a different generation, and this is a new generation of cops that grew up listening to Tupac, right? So that's just really what it is. There could be an inherent bias here, or maybe the judge is inherently biased towards P. Diddy in any kind of fashion, whether that would be because he's a Tupac fan, or maybe because he doesn't like how Diddy rolls, or he doesn't like the reputation that is surrounding Diddy and all the things that he's done, right? It could be all of those things. But, okay, so Combs right now is going to remain in jail while he awaits sentencing for his conviction on 2 counts of prostitution-related offenses. The judge decided this Wednesday. Okay, so hours earlier, yes, the 12-member panel, the jurors, said to no racketeering, not guilty. Okay, and most of these are the serious charges that he got away with, but was found guilty on prostitution-related charges. Now, that could be, I don't know, man. They said 10 years, but depending on how lenient the judge is. Now, the fact that they did not allow him to get bail shows that they're either going to have an even bigger trial afterwards, and even more trial after the fact, or they really feel like he could be a flight risk. That's another thing a lot of people don't talk about, right? So he could bail $1 million. The next day, he could be in Antarctica or Argentina or anywhere in between, right? So Mr. Burberry says 10 years on each charge. So they say they wanted 20 years, but he'll get to do 7 or so. Right. So in hindsight, it doesn't look that bad. And he's already did almost a year, you could say. Right, almost a year, that would count. So maybe 6 years on the most, right? Still, that's still time, but he does have money pushed away somewhere, and that's really all there is to it, right? So, okay, so who could have been charged for a life prison sentence, had been convicted of racketeering or sex trafficking, and now faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. Would half of the time he'll do maybe 3 years, right? With good with good behavior or something like that, right? So Sumerian rejected a request from Combs' attorney that he be released for $1 million bail while he awaits sentencing, citing in part defense's own testimony in the trial. At the trial, the defense conceded that the defendant's violence in his personal relationship, he said, adding the defense had failed to prove that Combs poses no danger to any person. Now, the jurors spent more than 12 hours across 3 days deliberating the case. And on Tuesday afternoon, the panel said, all right, it had come to an agreement on the accounts of 235, or six, sex trafficking counts, force, fraud, coercion, transportation to engage in prostitution, was unable to reach a verdict on count one of racketeering conspiracy. Okay, an hour into the deliberation Wednesday, the juror sent a note telling the judge that it had reached a verdict on all 5 counts. Because at that point, they just had it. They're like, you know what? We're done with this. We're finished, this and that. And yeah. So what do I think about that? Well, I'll do a little monologue on that in a little bit. I'm going to tell you what I think about that. But first, let's jump back into the Ilya Topuria recording that I was doing. And then I'll jump into the monologue of why I think this is an injustice to the system, right? But okay, let's get to this right here real quick.
In August 2008, allegedly to protect citizens of South Ossetia. In August 2000, through to Russian. The 72-year-old was an eyewitness to Russian tanks rolling through Ergneti in August 2008, allegedly to protect citizens of South Ossetia. Leah remembers things differently. After the 5-day war ended, her husband was left dead and her house gutted by fire. Leah doesn't want these events to be forgotten because she says the conflict has never really ended.
So, going back to what did Ilya Topuria, what did Paddy Pimblett say to Ilya Topuria? Okay. He said the Russians, this is why the Russians terrorized you. Georgians, let me, I'm going to pull this up right here.
Paddy Pimblett and Ilya Topuria, 2 prospects from the lightweight and featherweight division respectively, got into a bit of an altercation at the hotel where they're both supposed to fight this weekend. One of the most anticipated prospects in MMA today, Ilya Topuria, with like 5 or 6 guys, he had a crew with him. He approached Paddy Pimblett, who was by himself. He confronted him, and then a bit of an exchange happened where it's kind of hard to tell from the camera angle, but it seemed like Paddy may have tried to shake Ilya's hand. Ilya slapped his hand away, then Paddy tried to clean him up, throwing a hand sanitizer bottle at him. And Topuria didn't appreciate it, so he started throwing hands at him. The punch seemed to hit Paddy's arm as the angle of the hook was too low. It looks like Topuria also tried to throw something at Paddy afterward, and ultimately they got separated from each other. Trash talk continued, and that was pretty much the end of it. Nothing much happened. Nobody really got hurt, and it left a lot of people asking, why did this happen? Why did Ilya Topuria attack Paddy Pimblett? And why is Paddy starting problems with all these different kind of fighters? Whereas it seemed like Ilya Topuria is a guy who doesn't really get into this kind of thing. Well, Ilya Topuria is from the country Georgia, which is located in the Caucasus region. And apparently, Paddy Pimblett tweeted this out. Yeah, this is the big reason as to why Topuria had a problem with Paddy Pimblett. And not just him, a lot of the other Georgian fighters. As for those who don't know, Russia and Georgia, Pimblett. And not...
All right, so I'm going to read to you what he said to Paddy Pimblett, okay? Just to kind of put things in perspective here, okay? By the way, shout outs to Weasel on this particular footage, right? So this is what Paddy said. For those of you that really need to understand where this beef is coming from, okay? Paddy said, and I quote, "Lad, how stupid are those Georgians, man? No wonder the Russians terrorized their lives." So you can understand why this triggered Ilya Topuria, right? Well, nonetheless, guess what? Now we have an even bigger fight because look at the career trajectory that these 2 men are at right now. And this right here spells good recipe for a good fight. I mean, you got everything involved in it, right? You got racially charged undertones by Paddy Pimblett. You got someone like Ilya Topuria, who, by the way, also comes from a very how do I say this, rich Spanish culture. By the way, not necessarily a culture that he inherited, but rather a culture that he assimilated to. And with that, he also has the Georgian heritage behind him as well, right? Which makes him very interesting. Not only does that make him interesting, it kind of explains where a lot of his fighting ability comes from. Because let's not make any mistake about it, the Georgians are some of the toughest dudes in the world. Okay, some of the toughest dudes in the world. Okay, so before we get to all that, let's jump a little bit into the P. Diddy case, right? So we're going to jump back and forth a little bit here, just so we can kind of get different perspectives on this. So hold on, let me try and get a thumbnail for this first. Okay, so I'm trying to make a thumbnail for this live stream. I got it ready actually, so I'm just going to go here, there. By the way, you guys are also watching a behind the scenes thing, so not only am I doing a live stream, I'm also working on the lab at the same time while entertaining you guys. And by the way, by the end of this, I'm going to release this behind the scenes video that I have going on while I'm live streaming. So there's a lot going on right now is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, on any regard, Burberry says, bro was born in Germany, moved to Spain. If Georgian, how is that racist? He's stating a fact. Paddy said nothing but the truth, nothing racist or even undertone. Every time, okay, I'm going to address to that, Mr. Burberry, for a second. A matter of fact, I'm going to pin that comment. Okay, so a very good comment. Okay, by the way, it doesn't necessarily have to be a comment that I agree upon. If I think it's a good comment, and by the way, that also means a comment that I may not agree with, I'm going to pin that regardless. So congratulations, Mr. Burberry. I'm going to pin your comment and I'm going to address it. For now, Fresh Melon Juice says, shout out to you, by the way. How are you, Mr. Burberry and Fresh Melon Juice? Fresh Melon Juice says, every time a journalist asks Ilya about him going to Georgia for reception, he avoids the question. I think he's more Spanish than Georgian. Don't think he cares about Georgia. Well, you know what? He cares enough to go and street fight Paddy. Okay, let's put that in proper perspective. Okay, he cares enough that he wants to go and street fight Paddy. So I want you to understand that. By the way, I'm going to put this in my recording right now. Okay, I'm going to put this in my recording right now as we address that particular issue. Hold on just a second here while I change the thumbnail to this live stream. Boom, there we go. All right, boom, and boom. Now we got a new thumbnail for this live stream, because this live stream obviously is about P. Diddy being denied bail, but also talking about Paddy the Baddy, along with Ilya Topuria and the history of their conflict, or where this conflict had originated from. Okay, so all right, let's get back to the street fight video, which, by the way, you are going to see a street fight video out of this. Fresh Melon Juice says, Paddy's intention is to insult. It doesn't matter how he's going about it. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys in a video and mention your name in this video right now as I'm going to record the, yes, as I'm going to record this. So, all right, here we go. All right. All right, so while we watch this street fight video again, or whatever you want to call this, throwing hand sanitizer at each other, Mr. Hand Sanitizer, right? What he called Paddy. Okay, let me read to you a comment right now as I'm doing this live stream about P. Diddy, right? Let me read to you a very interesting comment by two of my viewers. Mr. Burberry says, bro was born in Germany, moved to Spain. If a Georgian, how is that racist? He is stating a fact. Paddy is nothing said but the truth, nothing racist or even undertone. That's what Mr. Burberry said. Now, Fresh Melon Juice comes back with a comment that I thought was really interesting. He says, Fresh Melon Juice, and I quote, every time a journalist asks Ilya about going back to Georgia for a reception, he avoids the question. I think he's more Spanish than he is Georgian. Don't think he really cares about Georgia. Well, I tell you what, to answer that question, I think he cares about Georgia enough to go after Paddy Pimblett right here in the way that he did in this street fight footage that we are watching right now. But he also says, Fresh Melon Juice, and I quote, Paddy's intention is to insult. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. And I think that's also very true. Okay, so that is also very true. You have to take that into consideration as well. Paddy's intention is to insult. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. So address that for a second, right? Is this fight really about race? Is it really about conflict? No. What it is that Paddy Pimblett loves to talk about other people in any way, in any fashion that he could, in order to garner some kind of attention or evoke some kind of emotion. And by the way, this is the segment of the video where we get into the psychological factors between Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. So here we go. All right, so there it is, guys. I was doing a little recording on the video right now as I was doing this live stream with you guys. So I figured it's a good way to kill two birds in one stone. And I am going to release this video as soon as it is over. Okay, so he's a mongrel lad. It's a fight. It's the fight game. He's a mongrel lad. It's the fight game. Okay, well, him as Ilya. Merab acts like Georgia claims him. Marty Miller says, well, don't they? I mean, they do claim him, right? I mean, why would you not claim Merab? You know, he beat a Dagestani, and, you know, those guys probably have some kind of, you know, racial undertone or anti-Islamic xenophobic attitudes towards Muslims. But Ilia Topuria, interestingly enough, also trains with Khamzat Chimaev. So, yeah, no, Georgia claims Ilya. Okay, so Marty Miller says Georgia claims Ilya. Okay, so that's interesting right there, to say the least, right? So, all right, so okay, let's go back to the P Diddy case going on right now, real quick. Okay, let's check out what's going on with the P Diddy case, and then we will go from there. Okay, so let's see here. Let's look at. Okay, we're going to go to my residential P. Diddy expert on YouTube right now. It is, believe it or not, Jesse on Fire. Okay, so we're going to get to this Jesse on Fire bid right now and see where this goes. Let's see here.
Hey, California homeowner, did you know that
Oh no, Marty Miller says, oh no, oh yes. Oh yes, Fresh Melon Juice says Merab and Ilya train with Khamzat because Khamzat's training partner is from Georgia. That's right, Guram, correct.
Welcome back, you guys. So obviously I'm not at home, but this needed an immediate,
Burberry says,
this is not what I want to be doing.
Hold on, Burberry says, did you see the AI video of Khabib saying that he's... Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, man, that's AI for you, right? You know what? I'm glad that we are being desensitized to AI. I'm going to tell you why this is good for the very least, right? Because at least what we can do is say that, you know what? We now understand what an AI is. Like if you see a video or a footage with, let's say you got 6 fingers like this, right? That's usually a sign of an AI, like somebody's throwing up a finger or whatever. There's 6 of them. That is a sign that is AI, right? So, PK says, hello, bro. How are you? This is the first time I've seen you on the chat. I hope you do hit the like and subscribe button. This is the most epic mixed martial arts channel that you will ever witness. So here we go. All right, let's get to the residential YouTube expert in the P. Diddy case, Jesse on Fire.
This is what I want to be doing Sorry about that. So this is unbelievable. They denied Diddy's bail. I needed to come on and immediately address this because this is like, as far as I'm concerned, this is pure corruption. Like, plain and simple, someone called the judge in this case and told them not to release Diddy. That's the only explanation that makes any sense of it.
Okay, now that makes sense, right? They're saying, hey, listen, don't release Diddy because this is what's going on. But yeah, Fresh Melon Juice, if you get fired from work, the next day you just show up at work claiming that it's AI. Well, you know what? Not so fast, right? This is why I think we're becoming a lot more desensitized to AI, right? We sort of know what it is now. So yeah, Parts PK says, what kind of content do you have, bro? Well, I do MMA content. I talk about MMA. I do live stream fights. I do commentaries on fights. I also talk about the business of MMA while mixing it with geopolitics and how it all ties in. But I also do things about California politics, whether that would be street, municipal, or state level, and all of that. Jesse's effing flamer, Marty Miller says, well, I tell you what, we're all allowed to have our own opinions here, of course. And that's what I welcome about this page, guys. This is what I welcome everybody to do, right? There's not a lot of Muslim content creators out there that will allow a certain level of freedom of speech that I will, right? The reason why I allow freedom of speech actually has an Islamic component about it. You see, if we're going to believe what we believe, you have to prove to us with metrics, measurements, and with proper proof and evidence beyond a reasonable doubt why to believe one way or the other. This is why I say that, you know what, freedom of speech is really important, because what it allows us is to have a debate, and to the point where sometimes a debate doesn't even matter at all because we have an evidence that is in front of us. Just messing, bro. No, I know. It's good banter, but I just wanted to throw that in to let everyone know, for the people that are not usually tapped in here, what type of things that they should expect out of this channel, what they should expect from me, and things of that nature. And all in while, like what Marty Miller says, he's just messing around, bro. It's good banter. We're here to have a good time. And you know what? What better way to have a good time than to talk about the sport that we love, which is mixed martial arts, along with other interesting topics and stories that go on around the world as well, right? Because I'm sure you'd want to hear and listen to something different from your MMA content creator as well, not just MMA, because like I said, MMA is a sport and is a culture that is more than just a shut up and dribble type of culture, but also a culture that encompasses other cultural settings and environments that is associated with it.
This, and I want to get into exactly why I say that, because the guy has been in jail. The guy's been in jail since September, okay? And he's been denied.
And by the way, what's important about understanding that why he's been in jail since September is because I think that's going to add on. So, for example, like what who said this here earlier, Fresh Melon Juice, or I'm sorry, Mr. Burberry, right? Maybe he'll get 6 or 5 years, or let's say if he does 3 on good term, right? He'll be out of here in 2 years, right? So that's already added on to his sentence.
And when you see like what the judge said for why they're not letting him out is insane. Okay, like someone called. I mean, you be careful. Okay, by the way, I'm at the.
Has used Roblox. You might be owed significant compensation from a lawsuit currently underway. Find out if you qualify. While marketed as safe for.
I'm at my jiu-jitsu academy. That's what I'm doing. But okay, so to be clear, okay, and the reason why this is so important that I came on right now to talk about this is this is wrong. Like this is like the guy got acquitted of all of the big charges. He only got convicted of transporting escorts across state lines, which according to the jury, they were being brought there to participate in like these freak offs with willing adults. Okay, there's no kids involved. There's no one being coerced. There's none of that. That's over. Okay, they ruled on that. Dude. Like they ruled on that. So the only thing that he's been found guilty of is calling a guy who is a professional, and they fly into town to have sex with his girlfriend. And after the verdicts were read, the judge said, I assume Mr. Combs doesn't want to go back to MDC Brooklyn. He literally said that. He literally said, I assume Mr. Combs does not want to go back to MDC Brooklyn. And Diddy like nodded at him, like the way that they wrote it was he like, nodded really hard like this. So obviously the judge was going to grant his bail. Okay, obviously, unless he's some kind of psychopath. Like, why would you do that? Why would you go like, hey, I assume you don't want to go back to MDC Brooklyn, right? And then go for lunch and then come back and be like, well, I've decided not to grant you bail. Okay, why would you do that? I'll tell you exactly.
Okay, now that's messed up, right? Why would he do that? Now, that sounds like spite from the judge, and you got to understand there is a certain level of spite that some judges operate in, and man, sometimes you have to be very careful when you are dealing with that kind of a situation. Parse PK says, that's good, bro. I love MMA, especially Nate Diaz. Okay, awesome, man. Well, I hope you like and subscribe to my channel. Shout out to you, everybody. Give a warm welcome to Parsa PK, and shout out to you. All right, let's get to it.
Somebody made a phone call to that judge. Okay, this did not go the way that they had hoped. And given that this just happened, I anticipate him getting a super heavy sentence. Like, he's going to get a big, heavy sentence. And Cassie, no.
Okay, so that's a good indicator right there, right? There is a chance that he is going to get a serious heavy sentence on this particular matter at hand, because if he's not being denied bail, there's a reason for that. It could be just based on the fact that he could be a danger to someone, or maybe he could be a flight risk. There's a lot of reasons, and by the way, I'm surprised Jesse didn't go into that potential of him being a flight risk, but on any regard, yeah.
No, he did not get bail. He definitely did not. He got denied. He did not get bail. He's staying in jail. That's what I'm saying. So they kept him in there. This is my whole point. Like, you got to keep in mind, like, this guy's been in prison this whole time, having been convicted of nothing. Okay, like, take Diddy out of this. This is what I'm saying. Like, I know it's hard for people to listen to these things and like not look at precedent and stuff like that. Like, just look at this as what's being done to this person, regardless of the fact that it's only look at what he's actually been charged of, okay? Because he got acquitted of all the major things, right? The charges he got convicted of are, first of all, stretch. It's like, yeah, he did technically do that, but no one would ever charge a person for that. Like, okay, if you're a swinger and you fly someone in to have.
Okay, Parsak says, your style like Khabib, bro. Thank you, my man. Thank you. You know what? That is sort of the different charm that I have going on in comparison to other MMA streamers, right? Obviously, I have a beard like Khabib, because that's what Muslims do. We shave the top of our beard and this and that. And, yeah, other MMA streamers are either going to grow a beard or they're going to have a clean shave or this and that. It's never in between, but there is a religious reason and a component why we sort of, keep up that particular style. Fresh Melon Juice says, the dude who stabbed a football player to death got bail. That's weird. Oh, are you talking about the Carmelo Anthony case? The Carmelo Anthony case with that Austin Metcalf kid, right? Is that what you're talking about? Let me know on the comment section below if that's what you mean.
Have sex with your wife. Like, you really think that's a good use of the law and good use of tax dollars to prosecute someone for that? Because that's the only thing that he got.
Okay, so he said, yeah, the black and white dude. Okay, perfect. Okay.
I'm guilty. Now, my thought is they're probably going to bring another case against him. Okay.
Okay, so that's true. There is a possibility that they may try to bring in another case against P.Diddy. Now, why would they not, right? I mean, considering the fact that if they're denying him a bail, well, there's a reason why. It's because they feel that he's a flight risk to a certain degree, but we're going to find out either way.
But literally, the judge told him he's going to give him bail, and then flipped around and denied his bail. Like, that is so crazy, dude. Okay, so let's listen to exactly what was said here. Okay, so P. Diddy trial updates, judge denied. Thomas Betters, what's up? What's up, Thomas Betters? You were right, dude. Topuria's current pound #1, rest your case. You were right all along, dude. You were right. Diddy trial updates. So judge denies bail. Cassie says Diddy's a threat. Oh man, she's funny, dude. Jury acquitted Sean Diddy Combs on most serious charges against him.
Yeah, that's funny that she calls P. Diddy a threat when in reality, I mean, listen, Cassie can be equally as threatening as well, right? Let me know on the comment section below if you guys want me to do. Well, you know, I'm going to do it anyway. In a little bit, I'm going to do a commentary on the psychology between Ilya Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. We're going to talk about the psychological side of this particular fight, which I think is really important, right? I'm going to label this combat. Okay, combat psychology. Okay, yeah, we're going to call that combat psychology breakdown because it is important to understand, yeah, the combat psychology between what is driving Ilya Topuria and what is driving Paddy Pimblett. So, all right, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's focus on this particular video for now with Jesse on fire.
Crime scene captivated for okay, whatever. Though the 12-person jury convicted the music mogul on the more minor counts, jurors acquitted Combs on charges of racketeering and sex trafficking in the sweeping weeks-long trial. Jurors found Combs guilty of 2 prostitution charges, which carry a maximum sentence.
Para PK says, "Yup, I know that, bro. I'm Muslim too. I'm from Iran." Oh man, I've been getting a lot of people from Iran in here lately, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to Iran. I know I have Al-Ariza come and tap in here. He's also from Iran. So, man, yeah, shout out to all you guys out there.
So 10 years in prison on each count. Okay. And again, the way that you're supposed to sentence these things, is based on the specifics of the case. It's not like, do you like this guy? Do you not like this guy? Okay. It's like if someone got convicted in the Mann Act of like transporting someone who was being.
All right, look, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about this case, and it has a religious component to it too, right? Look, here's the thing. We as Muslims believe that all laws around the world are not of God or any kind of way, right? If you're a true Muslim, you believe this. Not even, well, okay, maybe with the exception of some Muslim countries, but for the most part, most laws around the world are corrupt, and inherently as such, right, you have to follow the laws of God. Now, does the United States give a fair account of itself when it comes to not allowing unusual or cruel punishments? Yes, the United States is very good at this. Is the United States very good at allowing the person to state their case and also allow to prove themselves to be innocent? Yes. Let me tell you, the United States is the best in the world when it comes to their law. They are the best in the world at managing evil, not necessarily stamping it out altogether, right? And that is for inherently good, and sometimes that's for inherently the worst. Either way you want to interpret it, or either way how you want to look at it. But you got to understand, when you start seeing things like this, where judges go off of their whim rather than the reality of, let's say, the laws in the case and what is in front of you and what is the right due process, you have to be very nervous of that. And the reason why you need to be nervous of that is because you just don't know when somebody is going to use those laws against you in a very negative way where you could be found guilty when you're really innocent. Now, look, this has nothing to do with P. Diddy being an absolute POS. This has nothing to do with him being a completely bad person, because I think anybody with the right sense in their mind understands and knows that he is. What this is mainly about is understanding that sometimes the law does not work to your favor, and you got to understand the complicated nuances on this. There's the complicated nuances on the fact that P. Diddy could potentially be being treated unfairly, but at the same time, you could also argue that perhaps maybe the karma is catching up to him in ways that is unexpected, similar to Conor McGregor. What happened to Conor McGregor? He got the Nikita Hand case going on, and as such, it was honestly, it was a bogus case. We're not even talking about the other cases where we can agree that he's an absolute rapist and that maybe he got done doing those things. But maybe this is not the case where that happened, and so as such, it was actually the case that didn't happen that got him in the end. That's what you call karma, right? Maybe that's what's going on here. But nonetheless, we still have to play by the rules. We have to understand the law for what it is, and we can't deviate from those rules, because if you do, then you'll have to deviate for everybody else, and then there's going to be even more injustice that comes with that. It's not a perfect system, but it's a system that, once again, manages evil, not necessarily eradicates it, and you got to understand that. Now, Fresh Melon Juice says at Para PK, have you taken a command of Iran? Are you the new leader? Oh man, we have to let Trump know now, and then he's laughing at that. Okay, very funny stuff. Okay, so that's the Jesse on Fire bit. We'll get back to that in a second, okay? But for now, I want to get to the psychological aspect of Ilya Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. We're going to go back and forth, right? Because I don't like sticking to one subject over the other. Sometimes it becomes very lackluster when you talk about one subject. It's exciting, and the next thing you know, oh, now the feeling has dropped down of excitement, or your dopamine has dropped down. Man, listen, as somebody that has and understands ADHD, I understand dopamine hits, and trust me, this is why I say that this is the most epic mixed martial arts content ever, because I know how to really fire up your dopamine when it comes to these niche subjects that you are particularly interested in. So let's get to the psychological aspects of Ilya Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. Let's get to it right now in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I need you to understand that is the psychological factor that we are trying to understand with Paddy Pimblett and Ilya Topuria. Now, obviously, the first focus that we're going to look at is Paddy Pimblett, okay? The combat psychology that we're going to break down before these guys walk into the cage, if they are going to walk into the cage, or if that is even a possibility, as we are shooting this in the middle of, or the beginning of July 2025. But anyways, what we know about Paddy is that he is a jokester. He likes to say things in a low-hanging fruit manner. He's trying to garner your attention. He's trying to evoke emotions out of you, right? And he's going to do it by any means necessary. And by the way, unfortunately, the means and the way that he's trying to get under the skin of Ilya Topuria is using an event that is, quite frankly, very tragic for his people. Now, we all understand the psychology of Paddy Pimblett, right? He likes to be the everyday man. He likes to be the guy that, gains weight in between camps. He says that he doesn't like to have a six-pack in between camps. Now, what kind of crazy thing is that to say? Well, that is saying that he is a guy that tries to be the everyday man. And I'm sorry to say, everybody in England has this insane obsession of trying to be the everyday man. Tom Aspinall has that going on, right? This is probably the reason why the John Jones fight would have been even more interesting had he played the bad guy role. But no, he wants to play the, well, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just a UK prospect. I want to take it nice and slow and easy. If you guys remember in the beginning of his career, right? They want to be the everyday man. That's just a thing that they do in England. Now, you go back to Ilya Topuria. Let me tell you something. The psychology of this man, there is nothing ordinary about him. Okay, he's extremely ambitious. Not only is he extremely ambitious, he's actually achieved his ambitions as a double champion. Okay, and now that he's achieved that, he wants more. He wants mainstream notoriety. Meanwhile, Paddy is not really interested in any of those things. Well, what can I tell you about this particular combat psychology between them, right? Well, as much as I downplay Paddy's approach on trying to be the everyday man, it is actually really the best approach as a mixed martial artist. Think about it. He is the everyday man. There is no pressure for him to get better. There is no pressure for him to stay in shape all year round. And maybe that has something to do with the confidence that he was able to build up. Now, what about Ilya Topuria? What about the confidence in him that was built up over this time? Well, it has everything to do with his training, obviously, but then he also comes from a very glamorized culture in that of Spain. Okay, it's a very glamorized culture because let's think about this, right? If you look at Ilya Topuria, he reminds you of a mainstream soccer star. He has that look about him that screams, I am the teammate of Ronaldo. I am the teammate of Messi, right? I play for Real Madrid. And in fact, he has the endorsement of Real Madrid. And as a result of that, it really puts a different spin to his persona. But on the other side of that, you look at Paddy Pimblett, guess what? This guy right here is sponsored by Liverpool FC. Okay, now what is it that you know about Liverpool FC fans? Well, they're no different than Paddy. They love to fight, they love to scrap. And here's an interesting thing that I know about Liverpool, England, right? It is the #1 Lexus dealership, by the way, considered a luxury car, okay? Considered a foreign whip, at least to their standards, even to our standards in America, because it's a Japanese car. But yes, it's a foreign, exotic whip. And not only that, their #1 dealership of that brand is in Liverpool FC, in Liverpool City. Now, why is that significant? Did you know that Liverpool is #1 at, how do I say this, unemployment in all of the country? So what does that tell you? Well, that tells you, if you are about that life, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Think about it. #1 Lexus dealership in all of the UK, also #1 unemployment in all of the UK. I let you do the math. And that lets you know what kind of environment Paddy comes from. Ilya Topuria, he comes from a very similar rough background. What is that other rough background that we're talking about? We're talking about war. War with the Georgians and the Russians, and that literally sparked something in Ilya Topuria where he had decided, you know what? I am now the double champion. I can fight anybody I want. I could go fight, what's his name? Armin Sarukian. Okay, he is the #1 contender. I could go fight Islam. Just wait for him. Maybe even go up and fight at 170 if he wins that strap. But he decided he's going to go after Paddy Pimblett because of what he said. And you want to know how serious that is? I need you to listen to this right here.
A hybrid war is underway. Today, Russia is no longer fighting us with bullets. It's fighting us psychologically. A creeping occupation is taking place, which is one of our most painful issues, and most importantly, the falsification of history. That is why it's necessary to preserve it.
All right. So now you understand exactly what is it that Ilya Topuria is fighting for, right? He's fighting not just for pride, for honor, but for also the sworn dignity of his people. You got to understand that. That is what is driving this man. And you know what? The fact that it is a driving force behind him, it is also the reason why he's going to go in there and train even harder than he did for anybody else, including Paddy Pimblett. Now, here's the thing about Paddy Pimblett, okay? He's improved vastly over the years and over time, ever since his debut that he did in the pandemic. Before that, he was a Cage Warriors staple. He was one of their biggest names and built his brand in that particular league. Now, why is it that he didn't want to sign to the UFC early? Well, he knew that he was in the developmental stages of his career, and he had decided, you know what? I'm going to take that approach again, going back to the everyday man type of approach. Whereas with Ilya Topuria, what was this dude's approach? His whole approach was, you know what? I'm searching for greatness. I want to go fight for the featherweight title straight away and then fight for a double championship straight away and then be even more ambitious than that, fight for a 3-weight strap and be the first guy to do that at 170, 155, and 145. He wants to be that guy to do that. He's searching for Michael Jordan greatness. This is what is in his mind. Whereas with Paddy, his mind is just becoming the everyday man. Look, you got to understand what I told you earlier, right? Number one unemployment in all of the UK is Liverpool City, his city. Yet also the number one Lexus dealership in all the country. Because I'm going to say it like this: where he's from, man, people got to hustle. Just like anywhere in the world where there is a ghetto, where there is a hood and this and that, people are just out there trying to make it. Just like we're all trying to make it in any kind of way, right? So that is his driving force. But with Ilya, his force is not only ideological, it is nationalistic. It is also with pride, but also steeped in honor culture. But Paddy Pimblett, his whole entire honor culture is predicated from the streets of Liverpool. And by the way, here's an interesting fact that you don't know about Liverpool, right? Did you know that the Beatles came from Liverpool? Obviously, the likes of Darren Till came from Liverpool. The Smiths came from Liverpool. The list goes on of people that came from Liverpool. But what do you know about the Beatles? What do you know about John Lennon? Did you know that he joined the Black Panther movement? Right? This is the type of people they are, man. I'm just trying to tell you the psychology behind the Scousers, the people that claim they never get knocked out. And you know what? That is great. You need to have that mentality, because the truth is we've never seen Paddy get knocked out. Okay? We've never seen it. But maybe we can with Ilya Topuria. And guess what? This fight right here is going to lead into probably one of the best fights out there. You know what? I'll tell you this. This fight right here, as they're comparing all these comparisons to Ilya Topuria and Conor McGregor, right? You know what this fight is going to be like? It's going to be exactly like Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. So in other words, Paddy Pimblett is the Nate Diaz to the comparison of Conor McGregor to Ilya Topuria, if you can put that in perspective. And I actually got a video on that right now, which I'm going to end with, and I'm going to advertise as one of my older videos. And I hope you guys do like and subscribe. And until then, I'm going to show you that video right now and sign off. So let me see what video that was that I did about Ilya Topuria and Paddy Pimblett a while ago. Let's see what video that is. Okay, and then I'm going to read the comments. Sorry if I didn't read the comments, guys. I was obviously doing a live recording. But okay, I'm going to go and find that video that I was talking about and then end the recording of my video on that one. Hold on just a second. So let's see here. Don't worry, I'm going to get to your comments, guys. Stay tuned, okay? Hold on just a second. Bear with me, guys. Hold on. Ah, okay, 2 years ago. I made this video literally 2 years ago. Wow, okay, so we're going to react to it on the live portion right now. Okay, I'm going to record this right now. All right, so there it is. As I was researching this on the live stream, there it goes right here. And by the way, if you want to see me react to this, check out the live stream portion of this particular content that we are doing right now. I'm going to do a reaction to this video that I did 2 years ago. Paddy Pimblett versus Topuria will be the next Conor McGregor versus Diaz rivalry. I urge you guys to take a look at that. And I urge you guys to take a look at the live stream, of which I'm going to be doing a live reaction to this. All of this I'm going to put on the description below so you can find all these videos, including the live stream that I'm reacting to. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the content. And for everybody that's in the live stream, stay. And yes, we're going to continue more with that one. So like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video and in the next live stream, which I'm recording right now, and in the next uh, fight companion. All right, signing off. On to the next one. Needs if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA. Shout outs to Khairy of El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California represent.
That's right, Khairy. I appreciate you, my nigga. You came here and you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, bro. I appreciate you for all stepping in, bro. You say something. Man, my nigga Khairy. Okay, Khairy came when you started talking that shit. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That nigga can whoop your fucking ass. You don't think that nigga gonna square it up and all that type of shit? Say something. Beat your fucking ass. Like, man. Fuck you up. You will never see it coming. So for those of y'all.
All right. So for those of you that, yeah, now I literally just recorded a video right now while I was doing a live stream. So shout out to everyone. Let me read through the comments right now that I just went through right now. Okay. So Fresh Melon Juice says, do you think Gamrot has the best chance to beat Topuria by spamming takedowns? You know what? Uh, I think Ilya Topuria's takedown defense is pretty good, right? So I don't know. Fahad Al Mani says, "What's happening with Diddy? I don't live in the U.S." So Diddy was found only 2 charges out of the 5, right? So the serious charges, he didn't. He'll basically do prison time, but not life in a way that he was supposed to, or what people had anticipated. So there's that, right? Rewind to the very beginning of the stream to hear more details on that particular subject. Fresh Melon Juice says, don't compare Ilya with Connor. Ilya KO'd an old man, 36, 37 years old. Connor KO'd a 29-year-old legend. Okay, that's a very good argument. Marty Miller says, I definitely underestimated Paddy. I thought he was going to lose to Chandler. Okay, so Fresh Melon Juice says, how many wins does Chandler have in the UFC? Against who? Not a gatekeeper. All right, so back to the subject matter that we were talking about, right? I told you guys that I found a video from back in the days, right? By the way, you're going to see this at the end of the video, the Paddy Pimblett and Topuria video that I just shot right now. But it is this video right here that I did 2 years ago. Okay, look at this. Danger, new guy. Remember, this is I wrote this 2 years ago. Topuria will be the next McGregor versus Diaz rivalry, and here's why. Right? I did 13 minutes on this. By the way, we're going to react to this, right? We're going to go to the time vault, look back at what I said and why I said it, and we're going to find out exactly why. And by the way, I also made a video where I proclaimed that Ilya Topuria is not a star, right? We're going to get to all of that right now. So, all right, here we go. So here we are on Monday night, or on Tuesday morning, rather. And so here we are on a Monday night, or on Tuesday morning, rather. And at the aftermath of Ilya Topuria defeating Josh Emmett in a 5-round main event for ESPN's Jacksonville UFC card. One thing is for certain is that Ilya Topuria has proven a couple of things. Number one, he's proven that he's an elite level fighter. Not only he's proven that he's an elite level fighter, he's also proven that he is a very popular fighter. Finally, Ilya Topuria. He had a famous
creeping occupation
football player. The UK. There it is. I can subscribe. I'll see for the American audience. I'm not talking about Tom Brady football or Lawrence Taylor football. I'm talking about Pele football, Erling Haaland football, Cristiano Ronaldo football, Messi football, and in this case, Spanish Sergio Ramos football. Okay, a former World Cup winner. Oh yeah, that's right. There was a soccer player that attended Ilya Topuaria's fight, which, by the way, sort of yeah, I'm reacting to my video that I did 2 years ago where I predicted that Paddy and Ilya Topuria are going to be rivals, right? And here we are. That one of the top defenders in all of soccer, and he came down to Jacksonville to support his quote-unquote fellow countryman, none other than Ilya Topuria. Now, that's not even the interesting part about the whole story, because, yes, it is true that Ilya Topuria is from Spain, but he also represents Georgia. And why is that significant? Well, this video is basically telling you why that is significant and why this has some implications on what his super fights are going to be. So 145, he does great. Now, what about him moving up to 155? Can he deal with the top level guys at 155 and possibly follow the footsteps of Conor McGregor and become a double champion? He has the tools and the list in terms of. Did you hear that? I predicted that he was going to become a double champion. 2 years ago, I predicted he was going to be a double champion. Listen to this. Him moving up to 155. Can he deal with the top level guys at 155 and possibly follow the footsteps of Conor McGregor and become a double champion? He has the tools and the list in terms of being a superstar, being European, having these famous guys that are backing him. The problem is that, well, there is no problem, isn't it? Because in the beginning, I thought that one of the biggest problems with an undefeated guy like this was how is he going to get all this clout? Well, lo and behold, the UFC is really trying to get their hands in Spain. And now, and even till now, the UFC is still trying to get their hands in Spain. Right? Think about that. Now they have a fighter that they can build around to make that happen. Also, you have this situation where he has this beef with Paddy Benwit. And the interesting thing about that was a lot of their beef started online, and it eventually accumulated into one of the UFC London cards in which they got into a fight backstage during after some weigh-ins of some sort. It was the same card where Ilya Topuria and Paddy were on the same card, and lo and behold, they come to blows because during Twitter and the little exchanges that they had going on online, Paddy was saying things like, well, I can see why the Russians terrorized your people. And in reference to... See, and even till now, yeah, we're talking about how that came about. Which is Georgian. Right? And so this was taken by serious offense to Ilya Topuria, in which he had no choice but to go and confront Paddy in the hotels of UFC London. And when he confronted him, this is when the famous phrase that Paddy always talks about, oh, Mr. Hand Sanitizer. He always calls him Mr. Hand Sanitizer. And the reason why he calls him Hand Sanitizer, mate, is because he tried to attack him. And then after he tried to attack him, he threw a hand sanitizer at him. And so that's the reason why he calls him Mr. Hand Sanitizer. So here's the thing with Paddy, right? One of the biggest criticisms about Paddy is that he has the clout. He has the notoriety. He has the backing. The only issue is that does he have the skill to fight at a higher level? And this is the reason why I think that this future super fight with Ilya Topuria and Paddy is really intriguing because... And by the way, keep in mind, this is a video that I made 2 years ago, which now is being proclaimed to be a potential super fight. Okay, so put that in perspective. Let's face it, in the current moment of time, right now, in 2023, you could say that Paddy is not really an elite level 155er, but you could say that Ilya Topuria is an elite level 145er. And there's something even in that if they were to fight right now, because Paddy may have the size, but Ilya Topuria has the skills. Paddy the Baddy may have an equal amount of experience as Ilya Topuria, but who has more of an elite level competition? Now, certainly you could say and cite that Paddy has never fought the likes of Josh Emmett, but in that case, you got to think to yourself, the type of beef that they have going on, I think it's going to be blockbuster. Now, I also thought in the beginning that. See, 2 years ago, I told you guys 2 years ago that this is going to be a blockbuster beef, right? Fresh Melon Juice says, Marty Miller, who do you want next for Ilya? Okay, that's a good question. In the world, is Ilya Topuria ever going to have this notoriety and clout? This is one of those issues and problems that you have with undefeated fighters or guys that are coming in as prospects. One of the things that you always worry about. When Khabib was coming up, one of the things that people worried about was how is he going to become this pay-per-view star if he becomes a champion? Because it was. See, if you remember, that was one of the things that they worried about during that time is how will Khabib come in here and become a UFC champion? It's inevitable that he was eventually going to become a champion. Or, I'm sorry, how would you make him a marketable champion? Because it was inevitable that he was going to be champion, but it was no guarantee that he was going to be a marketable champion. The problem is, how would you market him? And lo and behold, we found out that he had a big fan base from the Middle East, not just in Pakistan and Russia, but also in America, also in Europe. And then on top of that, the Conor McGregor fight just catapulted him into a different stratosphere, which I think is the reason why this fight between Paddy the Baddy and Ilya Topuria needs to happen. But the problem is, should it happen now or should it happen later? Because eventually. Okay, so that's a good question right there. Should that fight happen now or should that happen later? Right? That is a question that we were asking a couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be exact, right? Is this better that we do this fight now or later on? And, you know, until this day, we're still asking that same question. These two guys are going to give each other the best clout they can possibly give each other, right? You have Ilya Topuria, who's from Spain, has this backing from a soccer superstar who, by the way, flew him out after Jacksonville and into Miami and partied the night away to celebrate his victory. Now, just imagine the type of fans that Ilya Topuria is going to bring out of that. Right now, Ilya Topuria probably has 700,000 followers, all from Spain. Of which the U.S. Okay, so 2 years ago he had 700,000 followers. Let's see how many followers now that Ilya Topuria has since that video has been made. Okay, how many followers does Ilya Topuria have? 11 million. Okay, so 11 million followers now in Instagram. Wow, okay, has 10 million, 11 million surpassed 10 million followers on, wow, 3 days ago. So now he has 11 million followers now. Okay, put that in perspective. He's taken a notice, and then Paddy the Baddy, of course, comes from the English market, which, as you know, is a very big market that the UFC always tries to go after. Every year they have UFC London cards. They got a lot of UFC fighters from the UK, and not just because they're trying to recruit that particular part of the world, it's because it's an ever-growing talent that they've always stemmed from in terms of UFC recruiting. You can go back to the days of Lee Abraham Murray and see that that was the case, all the way down to Michael Bisping, and then all the way down to, let's say, John Hathaway, if for all the hardcore guys that remember back in those days. And then you have the likes of now, let's see, Leon Edwards, who's now the champion, right? Another guy who we always worried about, how is he going to become a champion when he doesn't really talk? He's not much of a talker. Well, guess what? He goes and performs that knockout against Kamaru Usman in the Salt Lake City card of last year. And he says some of the most epic lines that can only be forged out of his own situation and his own organic uprising, to which created this new superstar in a British champion. Now, obviously not the type of superstar that you would see in the likes of Conor McGregor or John Jones or anything like that, but a work in progress. Now, this brings me to Ilia Topuria and Paddy the Baddy. I think what they have going on here is very similar to a soccer hooligan type of crowd, right? And I remember when Conor first came into the UFC, seeing this YouTube video where this guy cited something along the lines saying that like one of the things that the UFC is looking for is they're looking to do somewhat of a fan base that has this soccer like feeling to it, meaning that if you've ever been to a soccer game, there's a lot of people that always chant "Ole, ole, 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 ole," and then they're always cheering for the team. There's always a transnational, trans-international aspect to it where these different countries come together and their supporters come together or sometimes get into conflict, which generates a lot of interest in that aspect. But I think the future fight to make is with Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, and not only that, Ilia Topuria. Now, Ilia Topuria has proven that he is a top 145er, beating a guy who just came from an interim championship fight, and Paddy right now still has a long way to go. He still has to worry about Jared Gordon in rematching him because a lot of people thought that he really won that fight. I'm talking about Jared Gordon. A lot of people thought that Jared Gordon won that fight. And Paddy the Baddy seems to have a lot of technical deficiencies that... And even till this day, Paddy still has a certain level of technical deficiency, right? So I'm going to get to the comments in a second, guys. So hold on just a second, okay? Bear with me. I will read your comments. Okay, let's we'll go back to that video and play it. A lot of the experts out there are... Okay, sorry, just getting this video out right now. In the upper echelons of the 155 division, but nonetheless, this is a super fight that is developing before our very eyes. Because as time goes on, eventually Paddy is going to evolve. Eventually, Paddy is going to surprise us in some of the wins that he could get in the top 10 and maybe in the top 5. And then eventually, who knows? Maybe Paddy could even become a 155 champion if, for whatever reason or whatever crazy outcomes the universe brings us. But it's more than likely that Ilia Topuria is going to be a 145 champion before Paddy becomes a 155 champion. Okay, and there's another prediction that I got right. I said that that Ilia is going to be a 145 champion before Paddy. And here it is. Now he's a 155 champion even before Paddy got to become a 155 champion. And yeah, man, it's crazy how all of this just worked out in that particular way. Hold on just a second here. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I got all the links to the video. I got all the yeah, sorry guys, working hard for you to get a video going. Hope you guys check out this video because I literally just recorded this video as I am here with you guys. So yeah, man. All right, here we go. Let's get the thumbnails going for that. And then all right, there we go. I got it going on right now. There it is. Okay. All right, so back to the video at hand. But what is even more interesting than that, get this. Imagine Ilia Topuria has a Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor-like rivalry with Paddy the Baddy. Imagine if Ilia Topuria has that going on as a 145 champion. Because if you remember, when Conor McGregor became a 145 champion, guess what happened? He decided he wasn't going to defend that title. He was going to go for the double championship, which at the time was none other than RDA. RDA got injured, only for Nate Diaz to step in a couple of days' notice, just not too long ago from his Michael Johnson fight. Okay, and then he even called out Conor McGregor and then gets his wish, then goes into the fight, knocks Conor McGregor down and chokes him out and becomes this ever-famous Nate Diaz that we know him to be today. Because guess what? Prior to the Conor McGregor fight in UFC 196 back in 2016, the way that we knew Nate Diaz was just nothing more than a mediocre fighter. And all of a sudden, he gets this big win against this big superstar, and then not only that, catapults the rivalry into a whole other level because then they go in and fight each other a couple of months later. And then, of course, never to fight each other again, and then going on for years and years on out, just talking crap to each other online and on the internet, and never really having a third matchup in the ways that a lot of people would have anticipated them to have. Or maybe they will in the future. Maybe they'll bring Nate Diaz back and do it. But nonetheless, this is the same trajectory that I see Ilia Topuria and Paddy the Baddy going on right now. Because, yes, Paddy, just like Nate Diaz, had a following, right? But wasn't exactly the most skilled guy, had some deficiencies along the way. But because of his size, because of his experience, because of his submission skills, okay, it made him a formidable opponent for Conor McGregor at the time when he looked really unstoppable. So Ilia Topuria and Paddy the Baddy are no different in this aspect. The only difference is that they're not up there right now. But that's why I call this one of the best future fights that you have yet to see. All right. And it ends like that. Look how crazy this is, right? 155 views. Okay. Now, if that isn't cryptic right there, right? And then it's all about the 155 division right now. Okay, so let's go back to the comments. Oh man, No Chill MMA was on here. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so Marty Miller says I definitely underestimated Chandler. I underestimated Paddy. I thought Chandler was going to win. Fresh Melon Juice says, how many wins does Chandler have in the UFC against who? Not a gatekeeper. Fresh Melon Juice says, at Marty Miller, who do you want next? No Chill MMA says, if racist words offend you, you're soft. I don't care about the history behind it. Real men recognize things from a place of ignorance or hatred and are secure enough to not ever let it affect them. Okay, very interesting. Let me pin that comment down by No Chill MMA. Fresh Melon Juice says, no chill hate comes out of fear and ignorance. Educate the haters, don't strike them. Marty Miller says, sorry, Melon, I left for a minute. I'd like to see a fight with Armin. Okay, I'm a purist. Okay, so that would be the purist take, obviously, is to get Armin Sarukian in there. I understand why the UFC would go with Paddy. Correct. I mean, there's just a lot going on with Paddy and Ilia, right? So it wouldn't be surprising to say the least. Fresh Melon Juice says, okay, Fresh Melon Juice says, I agree. Marty Miller says, I'd have Ilia fight Armin and Gaethje and Paddy next. Okay, so that's a nice little agreement to a tournament there. Fresh Melon Juice says, Trump is funny. As part of the settlement, CBS agreed to refer all unedited interviews as Trump rule, which will remain in place after Trump leaves office. Wow, okay. So that's pretty groundbreaking. No Chill MMA says, agree, Fresh. So, okay, so we caught up with the chats right there. Man, shout out to No Chill MMA, man, tapping in with me right here, my man. Shout out to you, my man. Okay, so... all right, let's do a little housekeeping right here. So as you guys know, that video with Paddy and Ilya Topuria. That's premiering in 40 minutes. Can you believe it? Right here, in 40 minutes, I got this video premiered and ready for you guys. I'm going to put this up on the community section right now so that, yeah, new video, shocking and explosive. You guys are going to love this video, man. I'm telling you, I got some visual effects on it as well. So I urge you guys to check that out. So yeah, a little housekeeping notes right there. Racially charged beef, Russia versus Georgia. Look, I had to sensationalize it a little bit, guys. That's how you get views nowadays, right? You know, you got to set yourself apart from the pack, right? There's a lot of people out there that are making videos of all sorts. And then also check this out. On the description below, okay, I got a video of when I was going to predict that Ilya Topuria and Paddy were going to be the greatest rivalry next to McGregor and Diaz, right? So there's a link right there. You can hit that. Boom, there's a link. You can check that out 2 years ago, 155 views, right, as this is being watched. So I just wanted to have that recorded as the irony that they're fighting for the 155 belt. And then 155 views later, obviously not much, but I get a little more nowadays. So I got visuals on that. You guys got to check it out. I also go into a documentary about how the Russians were terrorized by the Georgians, and I get into that as well. Also, let's take a look at what else is in the description. Right here is the live portion of this right now. You press this, what happens? And you press this, what happens? We are in the live portion. Okay, so there it is, right? So all of that right here. You can watch. You have all the description for the live stream of today right here that I put there, and also the video that I did 2 years ago, right? And this is what's great about being in YouTube for quite a bit now, right? You know, you sort of have a catalog that people can go back to and reference to a certain point. So that's what's great about it. And yeah, that's going to start in 38 minutes, which means I'm going to be going live for 38 more minutes. And then after that 38 minutes, we're going to get into that video. So, okay, so let's get back to what we were reacting to, right? So, yeah, let's get back to this Paddy to Paddy stuff, right? Let's take a look at my man Weasel MMA, this video that he had about Paddy and Topuria, right? I really want to get this fight promoted. Right now, I know Marty Miller and many people out there are purists. They want to see the best fight the best. But if you're a content creator, listen to this. You want these types of fights. These are the type of fights that grow your channel, that grows everybody's channel, to anybody that is willing to go out there and cover it, report on it, or make content out of it. Well, let's check out the content from Weasel.
One of the other Georgian fighters. As for those who don't know, Russia and Georgia had a war in 2008, where Russians were bombing Georgia, specifically their capital, and even persecuting ethnic Georgians in their own country. So, of course, that being recent history, it's something that most likely Topuria had to deal with in his lifetime. This is definitely going to be offensive to Topuria. I mean, it just happened. It most likely affected his family big time. And not only that, Paddy further instigated this even more. We'll see if you say anything to my face. He's pretty much saying he would love to see it. And Topuria says, be careful what you wish for. A month later, this transpired. And Paddy went back to say that he didn't understand their history. Quote, I would like the Georgian people to understand that I had no idea about the history between Georgia and Russia.
This is cap. This right here is cap, okay? I'm going to tell you right now. Paddy is capping on that part, okay? And by the way, this is the uncensored version of this right now, right? What you're going to get the video. There's good visual effects on this. What you get out of this portion right here is the live commentary and also just the political angles of it. Look, Paddy knew. If he didn't know, why would he say it? Again, his whole entire prerogative is to try and hurt Ilya Topuria. Now, look, here's the thing. I don't really understand why he wanted to hurt him in the first place. He wasn't even on his radar during that time. Look, I think Paddy is saying an apology because his PR team told him to do so. And trust me, as somebody who understands public relations, that's exactly what his team told him to do. Okay? Because it's the right thing to do. And a lot of you are going to fall for it and say, well, he really didn't understand the beef or this and that. Yeah, he did. How is it that you don't understand the beef when you literally said that the Russians are going to terrorize you? I mean, it doesn't get any more clearer than that. But let's continue on with the reaction to the Weasel video.
Russia. I'm a fighter, not a historian or politician. I didn't know what had gone on.
He says, I'm a fighter, not a historian or a politician. No, but you know what? You don't need to be a historian or a politician to know what is going on, right? So let's just try to keep that in perspective, right? He says that people seem to think I said it with a malice when I had no idea about the past. Well, you know what? He doesn't mean it in a malice way towards the Georgian people. He had beef with Ilya Topuria, and as a result of that beef, he wanted to pretty much settle it right there. And yeah, so that's Paddy's whole prerogative right there.
On. The people seem to think I said it with malice when I had no idea of the past, unquote. So he did kind of apologize. He didn't say he was sorry or he was apologizing. He was just saying that he had no idea what he was talking about. And here's the thing that makes me scratch my head. How do you not know the history when you said...
That's what I'm saying. How do you not know the history, right? But, yeah, further on.
No wonder they got terrorized. You had to have known what happened then, because that is what happened.
No wonder you got terrorized? Well, look, it's pretty clear. And by the way, check out the video, man, because I got some clips of people... shout outs to DW in Netherlands, right? Their news outlet story out there. I sort of clipped a few videos on that. It goes really well with the video. And I literally did that video while I was doing this live stream. So there you have it, right? Double whammy for, you know, the workload that I got going right here. So
he said what historically happened, but then he says he doesn't know the history of it. So I take the side that you can say anything when it comes to fighting, because at the end of the day, it comes down to blows. It comes down to physical.
All right, so that part I agree with. Now look, here's what it is, right? This is the world of fighting. You're allowed to say whatever you want to say. This is why the world of fighting is not really intended for everybody, even though you want to make it mainstream, right? You look at Luke Thomas, one of his biggest complaints right now is that MMA is basically ran by right-wing people, or at least within the fan base of it, right? Well, there's a lot of truth to that, but also I think a part of that is because people don't like to be policed when it comes to their speech, and there is no better place than the world of MMA where people actually fight each other as a result of that. But yeah.
Physical action, and for me, physical action is more serious than any verbal action. So I take the side that in the sport, the fighters can say whatever they want to each other. But at the same time, whatever you say, you can offend the wrong fighter. You can get these sort of reactions. You can get into fights in the hotel all of a sudden. You might be chilling out in the lobby and all of a sudden, you get snuck in your chair. You might be trying to cut weight and all of a sudden, the guy you were trash talking enters the sun and starts wailing on you. Even though there's a lot of freedom of what fighters can say, they also have to take all the responsibility for what they say. There is a point where you want to build up fights, right? For an example, Colby Covington and Conor McGregor, these two guys would offend anybody they wanted because they knew at one point they would reach the top, and when it gets there, they're going to have a lot of people who's going to love them. Now, firstly, what I have to say, it's kind of dumb Topuria approached them in this way, even though he said that he would, and that is to be somewhat respected. You don't want to jeopardize your own fight. You don't want to jeopardize a potential future fight with Paddy Pimblett. At the same time, it kind of does build up the fight, but if things went south, if he actually hit Paddy clean and hurt him in some way, or Paddy hits him and he gets hurt, he acted a bit too emotional and potentially hurt some of his opportunities going forward. Not looking at the big picture and ultimately didn't stay stoic enough. The best thing to do was maybe approach Paddy. Don't throw punches at him, but maybe confront him to build up the fight so the UFC could put it on, almost like a leveraging tactic, to get the fans involved. The fans want to see it, and the UFC puts it together, and then you could put your hands on Paddy. That would have been the best way Topuria should have reacted here. But that is only thinking clearly, and I'm not in that situation. In Topuria's head, regarding how personal the insult against him was, I cannot blame him for reacting this way at all. I mean, I know personally so many people would have reacted way worse than Topuria. This kind of unfolds every...
So in other words, man, listen, if you're trying to start some, you're going to get some, right? Like, that's really all there is to it, right? Like, that's basically the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would do unto you. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it gets a little more complicated than that. Oops, hold on a second. There we go. Got to put on the light there a little bit. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Just trying to save this up right here. All right. There we go. All right. So, how many more minutes till we got the premiere? 30 more minutes. Okay. So we'll go on for 30 more minutes on this right here as we react to more of these videos right here. Okay.
Everything that happened here, they had a bit of a trash talking moment. Paddy took it more to an ethnic and ethnicity attack, and then edged on to Topuria to see if he would say something to his face. And even with a kind of apology, you pretty much asked for Topuria to do something. And of course, he obliged. He accepted the challenge and he passed it. And any Georgian, anyone from the Caucasus or Eastern Europe or any place in the world that's having some kind of conflict would absolutely react the same way. And a fight between these two would actually be pretty enticing. I mean, they kind of built it from this. They both have a fight happening this weekend, so they both would have to win. But there's a possibility that Ilya Topuria jumps up to 155, or even Paddy, if he can, drop to 145 and fight each other. Because even though it probably wasn't meant to be some kind of build up to a fight, it created a build up by accident. And people will love to see it at this point. And here's the thing about Paddy Pimblett, even though he rubs a lot of
And you know what? I want you to keep this in perspective, right? Weasel made this video 3 years ago, just as I made that video 2 years ago, where I predicted that Ilya Topuria and Paddy were going to be the next fight up. So
there's the wrong way. He's so polarizing, and he said he would be in the sport. He's actually doing what he said he wanted to do, and it's working. People are talking about him. He's a big name. He's going out there and winning. If he is able to continuously do that, keep winning fights, he's going to be in some massive fights in the future. Imagine he keeps beating these guys, all this buildup of different fighters, and he keeps beating them. When he becomes that contender or champion.
And you know what? Here it is, another prediction right there. If he keeps beating them and beating them, this was 3 years ago, and that's exactly what happened. Both Paddy and Ilya Topuria keep beating guys, and that's exactly what happened here.
His fights are going to sell, but he needs to win in order for that to happen. Regardless of what people think about him, regardless of the feelings about him, regardless if people start to hate him more than liking him, at the end of the day, everybody watches the winners, regardless if you like them or not. I know a lot of people say everyone loves a winner, but not necessarily. Everybody wants to watch the winners. Look what Colby Covington did. He became the villain of the sport, and he's proving to be one of the best fighters in the world. He has built.
And now Colby Covington, 3 years later, is on a losing streak, and none of that trash talking matters anymore, which is the crazy part about this.
That following behind him, regardless of what he says. And if Paddy can do that, this guy could be a megastar in the future. And as for Ilya Topuria, he's not a guy who trash talks a lot, but the guy's a man of his word. He will not back down. He will do exactly what is challenged to him or what he says. You talk trash to him, he's going to confront you in this way. And so far, he has the skills to become someone very important in the future. So both these guys are on the right path. Very different from each other, but if they were to fight, that could even headline a fight night card. A lot of people are asking me, who do I think would win?
A fight night card. Let me tell you something. Now, at this point, they are beyond just a fight night card. I mean, imagine this, right? 3 years ago, MMA Weasel was calling for these guys to fight at a fight night card. Man, now we're talking Spain. We're talking big stadium fights. We're talking all of that, right? We're not talking about no Apex fights like the way Paddy and Ilya Topuria started their career. No, man, we're talking stadium fights. We're talking O2 Arena. We're talking Wembley, if that could even be possible. Maybe even Allegiant Stadium in the Raiders Stadium in Vegas, right? All of that. All of these are absolutely possible and in the mix. You know what I mean? So, yeah. All right. Oh, okay. Continue on with the video with Weasel. Where did that video go? With Weasel. Hold on a sec. Oh, Marty Miller says Paddy took his time coming to the UFC too. They tried getting him a couple of years before he came. And you know what, Marty? I'm going to pin that comment right there. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why that is important to know right there. Okay, very important to know, because a lot of guys tend to rush their UFC careers way too soon, right? What's a great example of that? How about Sage Northcutt? By the way, a guy who trained out here in Sacramento. Uh, Sage Northcutt is a classic example of what I would call a happy-go-lucky idiot, right? And I don't mean this in a very derogatory meaning. I don't care either way. I don't care what none of these dudes think of me, right? You know what I mean? Look, it is that he got fooled into taking these fights that he has no business in, and as a result, it really destroyed his career. Yeah, fresh. Melon Juice says prophecies in the Torah was written 700 years ago before they happened. Very true, and yeah, that is very true. So did the Quran and this and that. We can get into all that, right? If you want to. But yes, a lot of the holy books have certain prophecies in them. So yeah, that's important to know nonetheless. So okay, so all right, back to that video with Topuria and wait, okay, where is that video? Okay, here we go.
Would win. There is a size difference between the two. Paddy might be more powerful. He might be more durable.
Oh yeah, so I was just saying, being that Sage Northcutt was a happy-go-lucky idiot, he didn't just listen to people and say, "Hey, you jump into the UFC right now, they can make you into a big star, Paddy." Like what I said in that video, that's coming up in less than 20 minutes from now, or a little over 20 minutes from now. 7 p.m. Western time, by the way, Pacific, California time to be exact. When that video comes out, I talk about how Paddy has a mentality of an everyday man and not somebody that believes he's above more than himself, right? I mean, the guy he's a ruffian, he's a hooligan, but he doesn't have this like hyper narcissistic drive about him in the way that, let's say, Conor McGregor or Colby Covington have, right? So he's an everyday man. He sticks to that. He sticks to the meat and the potatoes if he has to, and that's exactly why he didn't take the challenge on early to go into the UFC at a very early part of his career. So at a very developmental stage of his career, more importantly.
But skill-wise, I would have to side with Topuria. Topuria probably has enough power to hurt anybody in the world. With any given shot, he has a great grappling game. I would side with either Topuria for sure, but the physicality, the attributes, the scrappiness of Paddy Pimblett has to be respected here. He's not a guy that's just going to go away, even if he's in trouble in the fight. I believe Paddy could get a little too wild, and potentially Topuria's check left to counter will be a huge weapon for himself, like he's going to be a big weapon. I believe he has a better takedown game. Takedown defense might be a bit of a challenge for him due to how big Paddy is. If Paddy takes Topuria to the ground, it's still not a given fight for Paddy at all. Topuria is excellent on the ground, and ultimately sharper with his punches, smoother with his footwork, better with his angles. The one thing that might get in Topuria's way is if he goes into the fight too emotional. The fact that he did this showed that he is a bit of an emotional guy. Paddy doesn't seem to be that.
Now that's interesting, right? Is Ilia Topuria an emotional guy? You know what? I think he is a little bit, but you know what? For whatever reason, he knows how to control it. See, this is what makes Ilia Topuria a very big star, right? He knows how to use his emotions to invoke art. In other words, what he did with the rose and all of that. Oh my God, very Antonio Banderas, right? Right? All of that comes from emotion, passion, romanticism, and all of that, right? All of that comes from that. It's emotion. He was able to use that emotion to market himself as this Rico Suave Georgian slash a guy that was born in Germany, Spanish guy. So he's German, Spanish, Georgian, right? All of that. He knew how to market all of that. But he also knows how to stay composed in the cage, right? So a little premature on the part of Weasel to say that, but what do you expect? That was 3 years ago. We didn't really know these guys from a can of paint in the way that we do now, which makes all of this look back even more interesting, right? Looking back at Weasel's video from back in the day, looking back at my video from back in the day. So, oh, and by the way, don't worry, we're going to get to the P.Diddy trial in just a second. We're just jumping back and forth here. But okay, going back to that video with Topuria and Paddy Pimblett.
Wait, Paddy could talk trash and not be emotionally invested into it. So mentally.
So is that true? Is Paddy really non-emotional? I don't know.
Paddy might be the guy coming into the fight with an advantage, and that can make or break the fight regardless of how
Look how wrong that is in hindsight after 2 years, right? 3 years now, according to this, right? So when did, uh, okay, wow, 22, March 15, 2022 by Weasel. So, yeah, literally 3 years ago.
good Topuria skills are. So if they both win, I would love to see them go up against each other in the future. So what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below.
Marty Miller says Bryce Mitchell's performance against Ilya aged pretty well. Bryce, of all people. Well, you know what? Bryce is not to be denied whatsoever. Bryce is an absolute, uh, he's an absolute tank of a 145er, right? He's top level. You know what? So is John Silva. He's top level as well. But you know what? We'll never see that fight, unfortunately, with Silva and and Topuria. We're just not going to see that fight anymore. That's just not a fight that is in the horizon for us anymore. So, guys, we got 20 minutes left. I want to do a little housekeeping on the video that I got coming up. Please watch the premiere of this, okay? This is coming up in literally 20 minutes. And for those of you that were tapped in, I literally recorded this while I was here. Check out the visuals that I got going on in that one. Look at this. What is YouTube recommending to me? Infiltration, the real crimes and concerns of real Americans, according to Michael Savage, man. The type of stuff that, they try to recommend my way. So, all right, this is in 19 minutes right here, man. I'm going to need you guys to go over on this one and start waiting for this video because we got 19 minutes now, 18 minutes now to be exact before this video starts. So, with that in mind, before we do that, let's get back to the P.Diddy trial that is going on right now. Also, him being denied bail. And we're going to, yeah, so let me read this. Did you guys hear Armin talk about Bryce in DC's YouTube channel? No, we got to hear that. No, what did he say? Marty Miller asked. Yeah, let us know on the comment section below, Fresh Melon Juice, what he said.
Someone was like holding them by a leash and they were in full duress, right? And then they transported them across state lines. You would sentence them based on that. A dude who's like sitting there chilling and it's like, hey man, you want to come out to New York so that you can bang Cassie, this smoke show superstar? And the guy's all, sure. You think that's going to be on the high end of sentencing? Okay.
Yeah, now Jesse made a point there, right? Like, is that really a focal point of this whole sentencing when in reality, how do I say this, man? It's not a crime. You know what I mean? Like, those things are disgusting. We don't agree with it, right? It's abnormal in every sense of the word, but it doesn't mean that it's a crime under any jurisdiction, whether federal or state law.
So, jurors found Combs guilty of 2 restitution charges, which carry a maximum. Okay.
Marty Miller says, I'll check it out. In the meantime, guys, everybody around the world, also please tap into this one. This video is coming out in 17 minutes. Countdown right now. 17 minutes. Racially charged beef, Russia versus Georgia. What started the beef with Paddy Pimblett and Ilya Topuria? We're going to find out. All right. So going back to the Diddy trial right now.
Okay, the charges center on the transportation of 2 former girlfriends, as well as sexual workers for the intent of prostitution. Okay. Combs' case was particularly challenging, wading through the murky gray areas, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all I care about is the... okay, where is this about? Okay, here we go. So Judge Arun Subramanian, whatever, he denied Combs' request to be released on bail.
An Indian judge, by the way, an East Indian judge, right? So, well, I don't know what that signifies or anything like that. But, man, Indians are taking over everywhere, right? You got Indians that were prime ministers in the UK, right? They run a lot of the businesses out there. They run a lot of billion-dollar businesses and are in positions of power. Same thing in America. You got Kash Patel now as the head of the FBI. I mean, shout outs to the Indians. They are, they're doing something right. You know what I mean? At least in terms of, their group doing really well in Western countries. And then they buy up properties in Ireland and England and so on and so forth. So, shout outs to the Indians. It's, remarkable what they do as a collective.
until his sentencing. The judge said he must remain in federal lockup in Brooklyn for now, given the ample evidence presented at trial that Combs has been violent against former girlfriends. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? He didn't get convicted of that.
Okay, so that is a good point. He didn't get convicted of any of that. Now, is he demonstrated that he is a violent person? Yes, but if I don't know, man, like I feel eerie about doing that when he didn't get convicted of those things, where they can just use the law to their favor in any way that they feel and they deem fit, right? So
He didn't get convicted of that. Like he didn't get convicted, and this is exactly what I'm saying. Look, very important point. Didn't he drug people against the world?
all right, guys. So we got 15 minutes. Okay, how about now? How about now? Can you hear me?
Okay, how about now?
Okay. All right, I had to unmute that one. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, so we got it going on right now. Okay, yes, yes, perfect. Thank you. Fresh melon juice. Thank you. Movies is friends. Shout outs to you, my man. Okay, so let's go back to what we were saying here. Okay.
You told them you were going to give him bail and then you took it away? It's weird, dude.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, I think that's a little bit strange, right? Why is it that he was given bail and then taken away? Now, look, I sort of tossed it up as a potential conspiracy, right? Obviously, he had that situation going on with Chirac. He felt like he was bigger than a program. Then Chirac says, all right, we'll see about that. Next thing you know, it's people who have power using it to their discretion. So, okay, let's get back to Jesse on fire with this one. Okay, so little housekeeping real quick. In 9 minutes, Movies' his friend says, my son Jaden says, what's up? Man, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Movies' his friend. Shout out to your family, and I hope you guys are blessed. By the way, in 9 minutes, I got this video right here. Racially charged beef between Paddy and Ilya Topuria, the history between Russia and Georgia. I got some visuals on that one. Very interesting stuff. I'm going to need you guys to go and wait there in the next 9 minutes. And it's a very great video that I urge you guys to look at. And join me with the premiere. By the way, while the premiere is going on, I'm going to be in the chat section chatting it up with you guys. And you guys let me know how you think of the video as it goes on. I hope to see you there in 8 minutes or so. We're going to get this live on and cracking. Until then, keep the live going until the video premiere pops up. So,
okay, I understand what you're saying on this. Like, evidence proves that he's dangerous. Believe me, I understand. What I'm saying is, dude, what does that, like, why didn't he didn't get convicted of that? Like, they didn't charge him with that?
And I see what Jesse is saying, right? He never got convicted of that. Why should we go that route? Which, yeah, is weird in and of itself. But, yeah, anyways.
Didn't convict him of that. The stuff related to violence was related to coercion and all that stuff, and they found him not guilty of that stuff. Okay, so, like, he's awaiting sentencing for only, like, this is what I'm only talking about. Like, I'm reading the comments and I'm like, okay, I understand what people are saying, but, like, I'm talking about legal stuff, okay? We're not talking about, like, whether he's a good dude, bad dude, whatever. I told you guys.
And look, that's really what it is. It's really irrelevant whether he's a good dude or he's a bad dude. It really makes no difference. It's not relevant to the case, and one has to wonder, is there a discriminatory factor that is being pushed and issued towards P. Diddy? And that's a good question to ask, especially for legal experts out there.
Beats up girls, I don't really care what happens to them. But what I'm saying is, like, in this case, all he got convicted of was having a person fly into town and have sex with a girl. There is no reason in any world where he should be remaining locked up right now, pending sentences. It makes no sense. And the judge told him he was going to give him bail, and then he flip-flopped, which means, for sure.
Movies' friend says, you're the best, man. You're the best, man. Thank you for tapping in. And with that in mind, let's count down to the video that we have. 7 minutes right now. 7 minutes until the video starts. That's going to be in 7 p.m. West Coast time, 10 p.m. in the East, 8 in the Central and Mountain time, and whatever part of the time zone that you are at. So yes, shout out to you and everybody around the world. So please check out this video that is coming out in 6 minutes. It's going to premiere right here on this channel, and I urge you guys to check it out. All right, so until now, let's continue on with the reaction to the P. Diddy case as we are waiting for this to unfold. So here we go.
Hey, no bail. What am I going to say? I don't know. Say he's a threat. Say he's a violent threat. You know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous.
That's just what it seems like. It seems like somebody called the judge and said, hey, listen, judge, you don't say no bail. Okay, well, why? Well, because we think he's dangerous. Okay, well, do you have any proof of him being dangerous? Well, look at the case. Look at what he did, right? Just do it like that. Boom. Whoever it was. And again, P. Diddy has all types of people that he beefs with right there. By the way, before I continue, I'm gonna have some of this right here. This is Indonesian coffee right here, right? But it's like a little pack, so I'm gonna try some of these to get my energy going. And by the way, we have approximately 5 minutes before the premiere of this video. I urge you guys to check it out. Okay, so let's get back to the Diddy case.
It doesn't even make sense. And dude, like I've always said too, I don't like people being remanded to prison before they've been convicted, unless it's like really serious situation. Like in his case, he was like a flight risk and stuff. But like,
well, that's what I'm saying. There is a reason to believe that he could be a flight risk. This is Indonesian coffee. It's called Kopto. It's like basically, yeah, little candy coffee, right? But it's made out of coffee. It's like, if you can't make coffee straight away and you need caffeine, here it is, right? So.
Hey everyone, I wanted to tell you about one of the best deals we have going on the internet right now. It's the buy one, get one free deal.
In most cases.
Movies, his friend says, we don't have that in the U.S. Well, I mean, I didn't get it imported from Indonesia. I probably bought it at an Asian store somewhere. So I think it is available. So, be sure to check that out.
Like, it's a fucking big deal to lock someone in prison. And to do that without them having been convicted is unconstitutional, barring, them being a flight risk or being a violent threat. But like at this point, now he's been convicted of a nothing burger. Like he's been convicted of bullshit. Oh, he's a risk to raping men, women, and child. Based on what you saw in the trial. You know what? You're going on swinging pythons. You're going on timeout. You can sit for 5 minutes. Because you're clearly not listening to what we're talking about. Yeah, but this is what...
So the judge denied bail because he pointed out his own defense team admitted that Diddy is a threat. Okay, well...
I understand what you guys are saying. What I'm telling you is that the judge said he was going to give him bail, and then he changed his mind within 2 hours.
Yeah, so that's the controversy, is why did the judge change his mind within 2 hours? And we got 2 minutes left before this video starts right here. I need you guys to go to the video section of my channel and check out this video when it premieres in about 2 minutes from now. So, yeah, check that out right there.
Okay. Like, guys, this is not rocket science. Someone fucking called, okay? Like, someone called and told him, you're not giving him bail. Here's the other thing, too. He is going to face another trial for sure. Like, this is not over. This is clearly not over. The fact that he was, the judge was going to give it to him and then they changed their mind, clearly, that means there's more coming, dude. Like,
I agree with that. Yeah, they are planning something more ahead, right? Now, what that is, we don't know. Only time will tell.
That fact tells me that the people who are really behind this, like the big people, they're not going to like Diddy was never going to win this. Like he was never going to win this.
Movies' friend says, I hate to say it, but as a man who spent years in prison for a simple bar fight. Wow. By the way, Movies' friends, let me know what part of the world you are from, by the way. The judge can do whatever he wants. It's awful. It depends on his mood and everything. Man, you know what? That is crazy, man. Now, what part of the world were you locked up in, Movies' friends? Let me know. That's very interesting, right? And if you had any experience to where, the judge just Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Okay, so you're in the United States. Okay, so a bar fight, and that's what you got locked up for. Did you experience anything to where, well, okay, you don't got to elaborate. I'm sorry. That's not something you need to elaborate on, but I will say yes. Evans Correctional in Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. All right. Well, you're right, man. It really is predicated on the judge's mood. Also, a lot of these prosecutors and longtime defendants, whether public or private lawyers or whatnot, right? All of these people have lunch with each other. They make deals behind closed doors. And you know what? Usually some of the best lawyers are people that have relationships with these people as a result of that. But on any regard, Fresh Melon Juice says, I'm from Alligator Alcatraz. Oh, man. Yeah, that is in reference to Trump trying to open up, another detention center, for possible migrants. But with that in mind, yeah, it is 7 p.m. out here in the West Coast. So you know what that means, right? I believe that my video is about to premiere right now, or at least it should. Hopefully this already had uploaded. Let me make sure that this had uploaded right here. Let's see here. What do we have? Oh, no. Trump's trying. Trump's not trying. It's open. Well, yeah, you're right. Definitely not trying. It's taking full action into the course at hand. So yeah. Okay. Oh, what is this? Resume. Oh my God. I didn't even. What is this? They got to resume the upload. Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay, what's going on with the, okay, so I guess I have 10 more minutes before the, let me add 7:15. Okay, just add 7:15 to 15 more minutes before I set the premiere on this one. Okay, so yeah, 15 more minutes. I guess I'll stay for, a little bit before this thing starts. So let's see here, and we got 400 views on this live stream so far, so that's good.
Like, he's gonna, unless, I mean, honestly, someone. Wait, hang on. Someone just said. Someone said this one, like, unless this guy pardons him, which I doubt would happen. Once the Fed's got you, he's done. Also, I agree. I do agree with you on that. Let the out that improve. I mean, that's basically 5 minutes tourism. Thank you very much for the super chat. Great fast coverage as it happens. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. And let the out that improve it. Lace up souls. Thank you for the super chat. So that's honestly, that's where I'm at. Is like, they didn't prove their case. Okay, like, I'm not saying Diddy's a good dude. You know what I mean? It's like embarrassing, honestly. Like, it's. Wait, hold on. Penguins was crashing out on his video, calling everyone idiots who sees it how we do. Agree with you. Is Diddy a Walking Dead man? I don't understand how. Like, I don't know exactly. I'll watch his video. What I'm saying is, like, Diddy's not a good dude. I would never let him around anybody that I know. I would never hang out with him. I would never go to it. Like, if he invited me to his Super Bowl party on a yacht, I wouldn't go. Okay, like, I would never hang out with this dude. But, like, I believe in process. I believe in, like, the court system and the process. And the case that they brought was nonsense. Like, none of the stuff that anybody is talking about was included in this case. Like, that's, anybody who's been watching me or Gabrielle consistently will know that we've been watching the trial and our tone has changed. Like, we were like, okay, like, obviously this guy's an evil piece of shit. He beats up women, whatever. But, like, where is the meat on this bone? Like, where is this case where we are supposed to go, oh, okay, this is why they brought this case. Like, because, you know, having a 10-year relationship, like a volatile 10-year relationship with someone, and you guys are swingers, like, that's not sex trafficking. I'm sorry, it's not. And then this other girl signed a contract. The other girl signed a contract to be doing exactly what she was doing. It's a contract. She literally signed a contract. Okay?
All right, so now you understand why a lot of this looks really murky, right? The Diddy trial is probably just a distraction. You know what? That is a very good point, Marty Miller, right? You see, I used to be one of those people that thought, hey, you know what? These things are not a distraction or none of this or this and that. Then I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what, man? Who orchestrated the LA riots, right? Maybe that was a distraction so that all these things that are going on in the Middle East can go on without you really questioning everything else that goes with that, because now you're dealing with a domestic front where not only you have riots going on in LA, but then you got all of that going on in, let's say, yeah, you know, Washington, D.C., you had one in Miami, you had one in New York. I mean, this, that, and the other. So it's, you know, it's crazy. So yeah, I changed the premiere time to 10 more minutes. So I got 10 more minutes before that video starts with Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. It's going to start at 7:15. Let me see if I can just edit this out and change the premiere time to right now. It's not letting me. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah. We'll change it to 7:10. How about that? No, 10 minutes. Okay. Done. 5 minutes. We'll get that premiere started. So to have a sixth pressing thing that I know about Liverpool England. What is that other whip, at least to their standards, even to our standards in America, because it's a Japanese car. But yes, it's a foreign exotic whip. And not only that, their #1 dealership of that brand is in Liverpool.
Today, Russia.
It is the no. I could go fight. I'm giving you guys a little bit of an audio on the video to expect. So 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes out until that video. Let's read this comment by Fresh Melon Juice. He says it's like this and like that and like this and it's like this and like that and like this and all right, man. Shout out to Fresh Melon Juice with some of the rap lyrics right here. Well, peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping. But I got near, got caught, and got creeping. Now it's time for me to impress myself. Sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelts. You never been on a ride like this before. Control the maestro. At the same time, with the dope rhymes that I kick, you know, and I know I'm some more funky shit. So add to my collection, this selection. Yeah. All right, man. We vibing out here. Okay. 2 minutes. 2 minutes until the premiere, guys. I need you guys to head on over there. We're the producer who could rap and control the maestro. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hey, everybody in the chats right now, you know, getting the lyrics going right now, man. Shout outs to you guys, man. That's what's up, man. All right. So we got less than 60 seconds left right now. As 2 minutes. 2 minutes until we have this video, man. So guys, head on over to this section right here. Let everybody know that you're waiting for the video so that you can you know, help the engagement on this one. By the way, when this live stream is over, I'm going to go to that premiere and I'm going to be talking with you guys on the comment section of that premiere. So let's have a chat. All right, let's have a chat on text while this premiere is going. Let's do that. In 60 seconds, this video is about to start, okay? 60 seconds, this video is about to start. You know what? As a matter of fact, before this video starts, I need to go share this on Twitter right now. By the way, I have a Twitter page that you guys can check out as well. So I'm going to be having that in there. So, all right, here we go. Boom. Boom. Now it is on Twitter. So, all right. Okay. All right, so 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Less than 60 seconds. This video is about to start, guys. And you know what? It's the perfect time to do it now that they ranked Ilia Topuria #1. So it's, yeah, you guys got to check out this video right now. Check out this video right now. I need you guys to go wait on this section right here. It's about to begin shortly in soon. This should begin. What's going on? Let's make sure that, yeah, all of this is intact right now. All right, so it should be premiering as scheduled. Come on now. 7:10. Okay, because I put it on 7:10. It's still 7:09. So in 7:10, yes, you will get this video. Come on, guys. Head on over to the video section right now. I need your help on this one right here. I need your help. Get the engagements going on this one. Waiting for the video to drop. There it is. Movies as Friends. Hello. There we go. All right, man. Also, all right, guys. That is it. We await everybody. Come on, let's all get there right now. On to the premiere. All right, here we go, guys. This is where I need you to be right here. Come on, guys. Let's head on over here to this side right here.